Yeah, cool. I'm better when I don't even think about the camera. I don't really want to be looking at the camera. We just
No, keep it natural.
general chat. Yeah.
From A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. Struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. I'm trying to get from A to B, struggle on the way. Struggle on the way. Like the
Just drop it, just drop it, drop it, just drop it, just drop it, drop it.
How do you see how do you see life as a creative? Like what? How do you see the world? Because I think people see the world differently.
What, just in general, you mean,
Yeah,
or
just in general, like as a creative.
I mean, if I look at, I mean, a lot of people have said that I look at life through rose-tinted spectacles, and I will not deny that, because if I were to look at it for what it exactly as it was, and I'd see all the troubles, I'd see all the hardship, and it would hinder my progress.
Yeah.
So sometimes, whilst I'm not denying that adverse things are going on, sometimes I have to focus them out in order to progress, and therefore sometimes I have to continue to look at life through rose-tinted spectacles. And be that dreamer. But when I say that dreamer, I'm talking about that dreamer by day.
Yeah.
And everybody dreams by
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm completely different. But I appreciate what you say about dreaming, because like I just think a lot of people when they grow up just like lose that kind of like sense of dreaming. Like I don't know, I think at some point life or somebody in the life says, you know, kind of get real and stop dreaming and just like grow up or whatever. What is growing up? Like I think everyone has a dream, but like I think the pressures of the world kind of like push those dreams aside, and then you know just like hinders there, you know.
Totally. I think this, you know, I mean, just by virtue of existing, you have certain responsibilities, and that is inherently financial. You have, you know, financial responsibilities, burdens, whatever, just to be able to make ends meet, and that does determine what you do in life.
Yeah.
You know, if you are fortunate enough to have some sort of backing or some funding, or just have a lucky break, you can fulfill those dreams. But one thing that I've got to make clear is that there's no time span to a dream. You know, you look at success stories, and some of them are the most things that have happened in the most inopportune moments. You know, where, you know, I think there's a musician called C6 Steve. C6 Steve.
Yeah.
I think that guy is in his 60s, 70s even. He's only just making it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he searched for the stars. I think he just wanted to be who he was.
Yeah.
And by being who he was, invariably they found him.
Yeah.
Rather than him searching for, you know, I mean, you know, in the realms of music, there are reality shows where you can go and almost have a passport to success. But I don't really think there is such a thing.
No, definitely not.
I don't think there's
You say what? He's like 60 odd years old.
He's 60, 70. He's past 50.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's very relevant.
Yeah.
Because he's been the best him. He's been true to who he is. He's not tried to sort of modify to suit the times and
like giving to the pressures of, you
absolutely.
should be a certain way. I think a lot of people fall for that kind of trick. But he's like 50 odd years old, and like, but I respect that, because a lot of people just think because like by a certain age, if you haven't made it, you've failed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sometimes
yeah.
like it takes a lot of patience and hard work. It just doesn't happen overnight.
And also as well, Asher, I believe that what you've got to do is always keep one eye on the prize, whatever the prize is. It's not necessarily a prize, but the prize for you may be fulfilling an ambition. It might mean just getting some sort of return on your emotional or your creative investment. It might just be a sense of acknowledgement. It might be a sense of just satisfying a curiosity. But as long as you keep one eye on that and one eye in the real world that is you know, helping you move on. I mean, I think it was Ed Sheeran. Sorry to keep referring, you know, to music.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good.
But,
That's good.
I think Ed Sheeran at one stage was hanging out on people's floors, you know, because he knew that this is what he wanted to do. Now he's in a commanding position where he can take a nice break.
Yeah.
Get out of social media rather than sort of enslaved to it.
Social media, I find, is like the biggest Rubik's cube ever. Like, just trying to work it out, like get the algorithm, so to speak, of what kind of flows and what kind of works, because you have so many like people that just have these like one-off 7-second videos and what, like just like kind of make it and like go viral, and you have like people who put in the work like day after day and month after month, week after week or whatever, and like don't really
get 27 hits.
That's it, yeah. So it's like it's really hard. It's like really important to keep going, you know.
Well, I mean, touching upon that point even more, you know, what exactly is social media? Well, I'm not asking you to define it. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Because, you know, social media today, you know, is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? Is it, you know, is it Snapchat? Is it WhatsApp? Is it YouTube? There are so many. So you might be big on one and totally unknown in another. So, but do you have to command authority in all of them to be recognised as anything? I mean, I know people who are, I don't know them personally, but who are incredible Instagrammers. 50 million followers on Instagram. They've got that little blue tick by their name. You know, you search for them in other social medias, they don't exist.
They don't exist.
Because it's about the here and now for them. It's about kind of like, we're doing this, we're going to release it to the world, and it's in the format. What I'm liking even more, I mean, I've been lambasted for not joining the Twitter conversation. You know, you know who you are. But to be honest, it's not my. It's not really my kind of modus operandi, simply because it's a visual. It's not a visual. It might be more so now. You might be able to provide visual links and upload videos, but invariably it's a word count.
Me personally, the one that works for me is YouTube and Facebook. I'm still trying to like get to grips with Twitter, because to be honest, I kind of slept on Twitter. But a lot of people that I've spoke about it have said, you know, like Twitter's really good for business.
Oh, okay.
Like, they've got these like little campaigns where you can set like a paid campaign, like Twitter for business, Facebook for business, and it kind of works, and you can reach out to like niche target markets and target audiences. So I'm still trying to kind of work that out and see if it works for me.
So So is it fair to say it's like monetizing it or commercializing it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think most of these social media platforms have some element whereby you can, you know, almost pay-per-click target, bespoke targeting, reach out to a wider audience, but there's always a cost implication. And then you'll get something where some guy is singing about fish in a market, and all of a sudden it's viral. But it wasn't his intention to say, look, you know what, guys, you know, lights, camera, action, let's start. You know, am I ready? Do I look good? Can I start singing about this fish? No,
but that's when it works. Though. That's when it works. Like when
I think
the guy has no intention of it like being amazing or going viral.
Totally, he's maybe even unaware that he's being filmed. Maybe even unaware that, or the intention isn't to release it online for people to see. It's kind of like somebody is inadvertently filming it and thinking, "Wow, look at, you know, what's this guy singing about?" And I really, and if you were to ask me, you know, what causes one thing to go viral and something to flop, I think inherently there's something in us all where we see something where our innate character connects with it, and then we vote for it, and then we think about it afterwards. If we have to stop and think about it, we're not going to vote for it, we're not going to like it, we're not going to share it. But if there's some, I mean, I remember seeing one at Christmas. It was a Christmas spoof, and this young lad, this mother had given his son a lightsaber, you know, and he just like fired it up, and he was moving around the room, and then next minute his mum was in pieces all over the floor, and it was hilarious, because she's thinking it's this plastic toy that she gets from Woolworths or wherever it was, you know, and he starts moving it around, and the furniture's cutting in half, and it comes real. Obviously, it's you know, post-production digital editing, and it was just genius how suddenly he's swinging around and then his mum's in half on the floor, you know, and that went absolutely viral.
Yeah.
But the people who did the post-production, I'm sure they didn't anticipate that it was going to go so far. But when I saw it, I just thought, that is hilarious. It's so hilarious because I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost like comedic timing. Do you know what I mean? Someone can tell a joke, and you can howl out loud, and then afterwards you stop and think, I shouldn't have laughed at that. That's wrong. That's wrong. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It got your attention, and it made, you know. So yeah, there's something kind of maybe a visceral dialogue going on.
Yeah.
Somebody's connecting with your inner self that is saying, that's genius, or that's funny, or that's twisted. Do you know what I mean? And you think, I've got to share this.
What do you reckon your like biggest creative challenges? Like, because everyone has like a kind of challenge or like barrier they have to put. I'll tell you what mine is. Mine is like, is what we were talking about before, like conforming to this whole like 9 to 5 or like, you know, normal as it were kind of lifestyle. When like you're creative and like you're working on stuff and you kind of feel you know what you're working towards, but like your mind kind of plays tricks on you, like, you know, should you be doing this because, you know, all your friends are in 9 to 5 jobs, your friends are teachers, your friends are this, your friends are that, and you know you're kind of in like Lapland and like just trying to find your way, and you do have to like kind of keep that kind of focus on like your path. Like,
It's a good question. It's a really actually it's a good question, and I think
say is your challenge.
I'll turn it around and not say what my challenge is. I'd rather say how I prevent almost creative block.
Yeah.
It's tantamount to the same thing, you know, because challenge means it's something that's hindering, that's getting in the way. But I kind of look at it from a positive. It's like, how do you prevent that seizure or that you know, or losing sight of that creative initiative? And for me, the key is putting it down. Putting it down. I saw a documentary the other day about young people who are kind of like intellectual geniuses, and one young lad in particular, his mum was firing questions at him, and he was like, "Oh, mum, you know, this is boring. Stop, you know, expecting me to sort of like, I'm not a performing seal." Do you know what I mean? And then they just started playing table tennis. Him and his mum playing table tennis, and then he started to recite Geoffrey Chaucer. And do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, he said, when the energy is relaxed, all of a sudden I find the creativity inside me. And I think there's something, and this is a child telling this story, and I think that sometimes you just got to switch off and forget that you're creative. Forget that you're searching for a solution. Forget that you're trying to form your next
kind
project.
Of put pressure on yourself, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Unwanted pressure out of
Absolutely.
nowhere.
Just sometimes just meet with people and just chat. Just talk about them. Find out what they're doing, and in there's an answer. You're looking for a pair of socks, and you knew where you left them, and you just for the life of you can't find them. So you go brush your teeth, and then all of a sudden I know where they are.
Yeah. Do you know how many times that's happened?
Absolutely. So it's like, I think the answer to that is just kind of like switch off from what you're doing and focus on something else. Take the focus off, take the energy off, take the pressure off yourself. I heard this thing on the radio this morning. Which was so powerful. And somebody was talking about how Mother Teresa and Mother Teresa was saying, "Oh, you know, all these people living on the streets, I'm going to start helping them."
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to start helping them, but there are millions of them out there. How on earth are you going to do it? And her answer came, one by one. When I heard that, I thought, oh my God, that's it.
One at a time.
One at a time.
And you know what? That's another thing that I struggle with sometimes. I think too ambiguously. Like, I could be approaching like an animation or like a video and say, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Once I get down to it, like doing things piece by piece, and it all comes together, I get it done in like, you know, the next couple of days. In my head, before I've even tackled it, it's the next couple of weeks. but I can get it done in the next couple of days. But I think so ambiguously. But it's that whole
Is that a
thing
good
of,
thing
like,
or a bad thing? Are you challenging yourself or
not so much challenging myself, but I think it's just like the creative mind and how much like, because there was one thing on Facebook that someone put, the creative mind is like the internet with like 256 tabs open at the exact same time.
Okay.
Because your mind's there, your mind's there, your mind's there, your mind's there. But if you just like take one task on one by one, you get things done slowly and surely. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so what are you basically saying if you've got a project, see that through to completion before you move on to the next one?
Well, no, see it to completion, but like, you know, just like trying to think about all the things that you have to do to get it completed. Just get things done in sequence one by one, and then it will, you know, things will take effect and get done.
Well, I don't know. You look at a Tarantino movie. It's all back to front and it's inside out, and you know, and there's some kind of congruency in that. I don't know. There's something about chaos theory, about not having the chronological order, about it not unfolding in the right order, about just having that project and having an idea what you're after. In terms, because if you've got no vision, then it's going to be all over the place. But I think sometimes it's good to allow an element of chaos in there, and a little bit of spontaneity and a little bit of quirkiness, and something where you might not even understand what you're doing, but you just feel it's the right thing to do. There's so much creativity out there, and it's harnessing that from different, what's interesting, Asher, is, and creative block. I mentioned earlier about creative block. I do get creative block. I'm not immune to it. If I do get creative block, I'll put on a movie, which is something totally different from what I'm working on. Or I'll listen to some music, or I might just have some quiet time, or I might have a conversation with somebody who's doing something totally different, or I might watch some animation. Or look at fashion, or look at a magazine, or look at some photography. I've got so many different portals for inspiration. And that time when we went to watch that animation, it was kind of like a part of the film festival. There was creativity beyond belief. We were having a discussion the other day, and I'm sorry if I'm going off at a tangent, but we were having a discussion the other day about when I go and see a movie. I go and see a movie with my children, and what will happen is we'll come out and they'll be talking about certain characters, and I'll be thinking, I don't remember that. How come you don't remember that? Because I was seduced by the cinematography. I was seduced by the special effects, by the lighting effects. So I'm kind of there, this kiddie in a sweet shop, watching all the visuals unfold and thinking, how have they done that? That is a genius idea. And they're watching the story, and they're building. They're thinking, well, wasn't it great?
You're watching with a creative eye, weren't you? Creative eye and a creative eye.
So I have to go and see it 3 times just to sort of understand what it was about. Alice through the looking glass. I mean, that was just another level. So yeah.
Cool. Well, dude, thank you very much, man.
Is that it? Have we got everything that we?
We got everything.
That's great.
Nice one, man.
Cheers.
Cool.